Imagine waking up one morning, and instead of a bright, glowing sun in the sky, you see a massive, mirror-covered disco ball spinning above Earth. Light beams bounce in every direction, oceans sparkle like strobe lights, and everyone's suddenly living in what looks like the universe's biggest rave. Sounds awesome, right? Well, hold that thought, because this party in the sky might just end humanity. So let's picture it. It's the year 2025. And for some mysterious cosmic reason, our sun turns into a gigantic disco ball. Not metaphorically, literally, a shiny mirrored sphere the same size as the sun, perfectly reflecting light instead of producing its own. At first, the world would freak out. Social media would explode. Hashtags like #sunsetparty and #discoapocalypse would trend instantly. But soon, people would realize something feels off. It's not warm anymore. The light looks strange, and night and day don't work the same way. Let's break down what actually happens if the sun stops being a burning nuclear reactor and turns into a giant reflective ornament in space. At first, the world would freak out. Social media would explode. Hashtags like #sunsetparty and #discoapocalypse would trend instantly. But soon, people would realize something feels off. It's not warm anymore. The light looks strange, and night and day don't work the same way. A shiny mirrored sphere the same size as the sun, perfectly reflecting light instead of producing its own. The sun's surface right now is about 10,000 degrees Fahrenheit, constantly burning hydrogen into helium. That's what gives us sunlight and warmth. But a disco ball doesn't produce light, it reflects it. So when the sun turns into one, it won't be glowing on its own. Instead, it'll just reflect the light hitting it from, well, nothing, because there's no other light source nearby. Result? Earth plunges into darkness within minutes. The only light we'd see is the faint reflection of distant stars bouncing off the mirrored surface. It'd look beautiful, like a sparkling jewel in the void, but it'd be too dim to brighten our world. In short, Earth's daytime would turn into permanent twilight. Without sunlight, the temperature on Earth would drop fast. Within a week, the average global temperature would fall below -100 degrees Fahrenheit, -73 degrees Celsius. Oceans would start to freeze from the top down. Plants would die first, followed by animals that rely on them, including us. Imagine ice creeping across continents, cities buried under frost, and people trying to survive under artificial heat lamps. It would be like living inside a global freezer powered by pure disco regret. Imagine ice creeping across continents, cities buried under frost, and people trying to survive under artificial heat lamps. It would be like living inside a global freezer powered by pure disco regret. But let's say, somehow, the sun still reflects some light, maybe from nearby stars, or from the billions of disco mirrors bouncing light back and forth. That would make the sunlight chaotic. Instead of one consistent source of light, Earth would be hit with millions of random beams flickering across the sky. Every second would look like a cosmic strobe light show. Skyscrapers would glitter. Oceans would shimmer, and if you looked up, the entire sky would be a pulsating pattern of light dots moving across the atmosphere. It'd be beautiful for about 5 minutes, until people start getting migraines and seizures from the constant flashing. Birds would lose their sense of direction, animals would panic, plants wouldn't know when to photosynthesize. Basically, nature's entire rhythm would break. Earth would become one big chaotic dance floor, minus the fun part. Now, let's not forget, the sun isn't just our light source. It's also what keeps every planet in our solar system orbiting in balance. If it suddenly turned into a disco ball made of solid reflective material, it'd likely have less mass than before, since all that nuclear fuel is gone. That means weaker gravity. Planets, including Earth, would slowly drift away from the sun's orbit. Over months or years, we'd float farther into the cold depths of space, freezing solid. Our moon would eventually wander off too. The solar system would basically dissolve into cosmic confetti. Congratulations, your solar system just broke up because your star wanted to look fabulous. Here's the ultimate twist. If the sun really were a perfect mirror, some of the light it reflects would bounce back toward other stars, or even back to Earth. That means we could see our own planet's reflection shining in the sky, a tiny blue marble reflected from 93 million miles away. It'd be hauntingly beautiful, but it would also be a tombstone for a once-living world now frozen solid, dancing under the faint glimmer of its own ghostly image. So, what did we learn? Turning the sun into a disco ball might sound like the greatest celestial party ever, but in reality, it would plunge our planet into eternal night, freeze every ocean, and scatter our solar system into chaos. The only thing dancing would be atoms, slowly, as everything cools to absolute zero. So maybe let's keep the disco balls in nightclubs and not in space, yeah? If you liked this wild thought experiment, hit that like button, share it with your fellow science nerds, and subscribe for more what-if chaos from the Nexus Point. Until next time, keep wondering, keep questioning, and remember, even the craziest ideas can teach us something about our universe.